Board President, Happy New Year to members of the board. Those I haven't had a chance to see. I wanted to start first with the issue of operator fatigue, which of course is the subject of an article in the Oregonian on Sunday. And I tell you, I do not quibble at all with the article's conclusion, which is our hours of service policy needs to be reformed. I do want to share a few details about that with you and make sure that you understand where we stand in all of that. And this is a long-standing issue that Trimet management has been working on really since 2010. The story stemmed from when a MAX train hit a bumping post at the Expo Center in 2011, and the presumption was that or speculation that the operator had fallen asleep. I tell you that the operator has been through our disciplinary process related to that, but I can also tell you that hours of service was not an issue in that incident. Number one, the operator was on his Monday. In other words, he had had 2 previous days off preceding that incident. Second is that we have a good hours of service policy for the rail side. Federal regulation allows ODOT to impose hours of service regulations on Trimet for the rail side. That same authority doesn't exist for the bus side, and that's where we need reform. And we've begun working this literally in 2010, where we sent a proposal to the ATU to change the hours of service. We kept that dialogue alive through 2011, but through all the correspondence, the bottom line for the union at that time was without a change in federal or state rule or regulation that required it, they preferred to stick with the status quo. So based on that, we have included a revised hours of service policy in our labor contract proposal, which was released on December 1st.
I don't know why they've taken a stance, and I don't know why the district hasn't taken a stance on negotiating a longer period in between runs. Right now we have runs where we have one bus that will go out of the yard and maybe 3 or 4 operators relieving that bus. It doesn't make sense that we utilize small chunks of a day for individual operators.
Change in federal or state rule or regulation that required it, they preferred to stick with the status quo. So based on that, we have included a revised hours of service policy in our labor contract proposal, which was released on December 1st of last year. So I don't want you to think that that we have been ignoring this problem. You know that this is a problem that needs to get fixed. The article did focus on some extreme examples on the bus side, and there's no question in anybody's mind, period. Nobody should be driving a bus for 20 hours straight or 24 hours straight or do these double back shifts without adequate rest in between. But we do need the ATU to come to the table and negotiate a change in this policy. We have a policy that goes back to 2000, and we need to bring that up to current standards. We, again, because of the regulation on the rail side, been able to do that for the rail operators, but not for the bus operators. Yesterday, Shelley Lomax, our Executive Director for Operations, sent another letter to the ATU welcoming negotiations on this topic and requesting negotiations on the topic. We've heard through the media the union may be amenable to that at this point in time. We certainly hope so. I would tell you that change is coming in this area one way or the other. With the MAP 21 legislation that Congress adopted, there is broad safety oversight regulation now vested in the FTA that wasn't there previously, that allows FTA to regulate, and they'll do that through the ODOT safety mechanisms to regulate the bus hours of service. And from personal conversations with FTA officials, I know that that is coming. But I would tell you that I'm calling for these actions now, the best result is always through negotiation, and we call on the ATU, and we pledge our cooperation with the ATU to negotiate common sense, sensible hours of service policy that any of you would, I think, want to say is a good result. But I'm also taking some actions now independent of that, and I've sent you a piece of correspondence I shared internally with all employees as of Monday. And just to reiterate the actions I'm taking is, first of all, asking all employees individually to reignite to focus on safety. there is individual responsibility associated with this, and we need to all make sure that we're focused on that. Second, I'm asking everyone to report any situation where it appears that there is fatigue, to make sure that that gets reported. And again, I want to be very clear that I'm asking other employees to do that not as a gotcha, but as a concern for the well-being of our passengers and our fellow workers. So that means that if there is anybody who's looking fatigued, we should note it to our management and make sure that there is a conversation that follows up in a constructive way to make sure that, again, our individual responsibility is being highlighted. Third, I'm asking all of those who work directly with our frontline employees, our station agents, our supervisors, our station management, to be much more watchful related to this. There's an element of their job which is called fit for duty, which is making sure that they have some interaction with the operators before they hit the road, and to make sure that there is not an overabundance of fatigue or other kinds of impairment available. So we want to sharpen that. And I'm also asking internal audit to really expand a review that's already underway related to hours of service. So we make sure that we are in compliance with our current proposal policies. And the policies are strong on the rail side. It's the bus side that we do need to see some improvement in. And with that review, also focus on best practices. So we make sure that our station agents, who often do the call down when a restaurant needs to be filled, have the best tools available to them related to making good judgment calls on this issue. I'm charging our safety and security executive, Harry Soporta, with monitoring this package of actions. I've also called for him to create a more complete fatigue management program that really looks at all elements of work, and that is actually a topic which is already underway, but we'll continue to pull that together in a very strong, comprehensive program. But again, I would want to reemphasize that as far as the hours of service, we need the ATU to come to the table. We're encouraged by some of the comments that we've seen lately, and we're very pleased if that results in a direct conversation to begin to negotiate a change in this policy with the union, because I think that's very important. I would say that if we can't come to some agreement, we would certainly welcome a change in state policy or legislation to change this policy overall. We think it is important and needs to be done. So, but as you know, this hours of service issue is one of a number of elements of our ATU contract that need reform. It starts with the health care benefit. It starts with, includes the issue of absenteeism, which is closely related to this problem, and how we can begin to monitor and help our employees. And it includes other, I think, positive aspects of work rule changes that are very, very out of date in terms of our current contract. Mr. Board President, I have a few other items.